All right, perfect. So we are ready to get moving. Let me share my screen with you and we are going to get cracking. Perfect. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen where we are talking about pulling our hair out, because that is what most people are thinking happens when you declutter, whatever it is. It may be your home, it may be your RV, it may be your garage or shed. But I promise you, by the end of this 45 minutes or so of us chatting together, my goal is to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to feel this way. And hopefully you will be excited to embark or continue on your journey as to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So just a little bit about me. If you are new here, I see a lot of familiar faces. So thank you so much for popping back in, because we do this workshop every month. And my goal is, first of all, I do update it on a regular basis because I find some interesting tidbits that pertain to the right sizing and decluttering. And also, if you want to come back every month because you're looking for some more inspiration, or you may be looking for that pat on your back, please do, because we do love to see you. And I'm going to ask you how everybody else is doing from the months prior. How are you doing on your decluttering journey? And I hope that you're taking before, during, and after pictures, because that will give you the ultimate satisfaction knowing that you're making really great progress. So a little bit about me. I am a real estate agent by trade. I am your community and real estate resource, and this is what I strive to be, is my number one goal. My goal is to take the information that you see on social media, on internet, that applies to kind of like on the national level, make it more simple to understand and make it more relevant to right here for us in our community. Of course, as real estate agents, we help our clients create a plan and become homeowners, because I truly believe that everyone can do that. And it's ultimately, it's the ultimate American dream. And once you become a homeowner, I am there right beside you to help you protect your biggest investment, because that's what the home is. It's going to help you in your golden years. It is part of your retirement planning. And I want to make sure that you protect it and make sure that it continues to grow in value. That's the goal. And we do that through helpful education like these workshops for the last 6 years, and also our complimentary concierge service. Think of us as basically your virtual yellow pages from A to Z. If you need any contractor recommendations, professional recommendations, pick our brain on something, please rely on us. We're here for you. We want you to take advantage and use some great contractor resources that either we have used ourselves or other clients have recommended to us, and we added them to our list. So that's a little bit about us. And a couple of things that I wanted to run by you is, why are we talking about decluttering? And what I have found in the 15 years that I've had my real estate practice is that decluttering, which has been proven, is not just something fun and hip that you see on social media, but decluttering is actually very important for your emotional, physical well-being. The research has been done. I have seen it, I have read it when I was originally designing this workshop, and I continue to truly believe that getting rid of stuff is very, very healthy for you on multiple levels. And I think a lot of you are here, and you'll agree with me, is that some of the things that we kind of ask ourselves, and why it's such a challenge for a lot of us, is because we a lot of times don't know where to start. It grows over time if it's left alone. Think about the mail. That's one of my great examples that I really like to use, because mail comes into our house every day, Monday through Saturday, except for Sundays or holidays. And if you don't stay on top of it and create a simple system on how you address paperwork, you're going to start drowning in it. I see it all the time when we go and visit clients and we create an action plan depending on what their moving goals are. And also, I'm going to kind of expand your mind and suggest that you think a little bit differently about your stuff, is that 80% of the stuff that we own, we rarely use. Think about it. It's, the 80-20 rule applies in many different aspects of our lives, including with the stuff that we have. And then, of course, with time, it's going to become painful. You're not sure where to start. You're not sure what to keep. right? That's a big anxiety creator. You're not sure what you're going to keep, especially with paperwork. And then you just end up not doing anything because you just get all stressed out, overwhelmed, and you're like, I'll just deal with it another time, another day. And you know that day never comes, that time never comes. So we think and do things on two different levels, subconscious and conscious. And the easy way to explain that to you is this. When you get up in the morning, you have a routine. You sometimes don't even think about it. You know, you grab a shower, you brush your teeth, then you head into the kitchen, you start making breakfast, getting ready for the day, and you make your coffee. A lot of things that we do on autopilot, our habits that we have, are done with our subconscious brain kind of controlling what we're doing. And the subconscious brain is like your operating system on a computer. You know what it has to do. It kind of operates in the background. But then when you start making coffee, you realize that you're out of creamer. So you literally have to stop yourself right in the middle of your process that you're used to. And you have to ask yourself, okay, so am I going to go ahead and drink black coffee? Do I have some kind of other options? You have to consciously make a decision on what are you doing right now, because was an interruption. So the research shows is that the clutter and stuff is going to affect you on that subconscious level, which means it sits right there beside you in your operating system, and it just grinds away and it eats away your energy. And this is why you feel negative things and you don't like to think about those things, because it's not fun. It's not pleasant to think about. And clutter can absolutely be a source of stress, depression, health issues. Think about if you have a cluttered bedroom and you're not sleeping well, could that be the reason why? Family problems and absolutely home disrepair that I have seen quite a few times. If you let it go, if paper covers issues, if you potentially have a rodent problem, that's going to show up, but you're not going to be able to see it because it's covered by stuff. So I invite you to keep an open mind and to kind of think differently and realize that, first of all, you absolutely can do this and you have control over these things, and we're going to do it one little step at a time. So different personalities handle things differently. I want you to think about this way. And this is, I think, one of the really, really important things that I want you to think about is, depending on how you are yourself, what are some of your strengths and weaknesses, you're going to tackle stuff and address things in different ways. So I just kind of threw this out there because I want you to start thinking about this as well as part of your kind of decision-making process on what your own declutter journey is and how are you going to approach this. So if you are that overwhelmed clutter bug, where your house is so full of stuff that you just want to cry, but then also at the same time, you're having a hard time going through things because it's a personal traumatic experience, because maybe there's memories, there's loss, there's things that are happening, then there's ways you can do that. And one of the ways to do that is just to start with doing some decluttering that involves no emotion. And that is up to you to decide what that could be. So it could be a garage, it could be a shed, it could be areas where you don't have any photos or personal items or mementos, or if you want, start in the kitchen, start with the fridge. Okay, so this is how I want you to think about it. When you're stressed with a looming project, make a list. So instead of saying, okay, I'm going to organize a cabinet, I'm going to organize a pantry, I want you to write down specifically what you're going to do. Maybe you're going to go through your medicine cabinet and you're going to throw away, get rid of the expired bottles of medicine or old bottles of lotion, things like that. If you are a chaotic organizer, that means that you probably know where things are, but on the shelf, but they're not in the order. So another way to think about it is you have a organized chaos. You probably have heard of that phrase. And you have maybe junk in certain places. You have canisters that you wanted to use, but they're just kind of sitting there. So there is some strategy to help you, because if that is how you are, that's your personalities. You can take some notes when the home is in disarray, write things down, what's wrong, and also write down your emotions. I can tell you that journaling in many different ways and different planning is absolutely essential and very helpful, For those of you guys that have been on my workshops, you know I'm a huge believer in notebooks, notepads. This is one of them. This is a notebook that I actually have that sits on my nightstand by my bed. So I had some thoughts that I wanted to write down because I did not want them to sit and simmer overnight. So I just jotted them down in pencil and I brought it down because now I want to actually act on it or put it on a list. So same thing, take some notes, figure things out, and have that creative focus when you're looking at what you wrote down. So focus on one thing at a time rather than trying to tackle everything. Getting rid of items that you haven't used for a year, just let them go, and get organized with a function. So that's, we're all guilty of getting pretty things and buying pretty things because marketing is very, very powerful because it affects our emotions. That's kind of like the first thing that that we look at and like, oh, this is so pretty and I can just, and then you go down that rabbit hole, right? So that's that. If you are type A personality, which is someone who's a go-getter, get things done, we're working quickly because we want to see progress. Maybe your books in the closet look like a rainbow, your DVDs may be in alphabetical order where you are trying to be perfectionist, right? Maybe you are somebody who prepares always and you have things that are stacked. You have a couple of containers of corn or other canned foods, or you have 2 or 3 bundles of toilet paper, paper towels, things like that, right? So the strategy here is using labeling and also making sure that you utilize your space really well. Don't overcrowd it because then you're going to run out of space, okay? And if you are having challenges with other members of your family and your loved ones being not as organized as you are, and I can tell you that's something that I probably struggle with still, I tell them, I'm like, okay, here's your designated space. Here's your designated closet or drawer or something. This is where you keep your mess, but that's it. It does not spread around the house because that's something that would bother me. So think about what kind of personality you are and how you can use that to your advantage, but also recognize that there are some things that you're not strong at, and that's okay. That's because that's just how you are. So now I want you to think about how we're going to actually put a plan together to declutter. And I don't want you to overthink it. You don't need to have everything perfect. And if Olga says you need to have A, B, and C, and I don't have all of it, oh my God, I can't, and don't even go there. You need to have very few simple things, and I guarantee you already have them in the house. So the first thing is we're going to actually make a decision on when we're going to have a first decluttering session. So I'm inviting you to create a 1-hour appointment, and you're going to put it on your calendar. You decide on when that's going to happen. First thing in the morning is usually better because then you are fresh. You are not boggled down with other things. You don't have a long list of things that is now on your mind. So do it first thing in the morning, and you're setting aside an hour, and you're going to honor that just as you would honor an appointment if you had to go to the doctor, because this is just as important for your health and well-being. You're going to put your phone on silent mode to avoid distractions. It's one of the worst things that I think we own. If you put it on silent, it's not going to vibrate, zing, ring, bell, none of those things, and you cannot use it as your timer either because it's going to distract you, right? Let's get real about it. So we're going to respect our appointment, and we're going to use a simple timer. Here, I'm going to show you mine. This is mine. This is my timer, okay? All it is you wind it for however many minutes, and I use it for other purposes as well, but that's it. There's nothing to be distracted about this thing, okay? So you can use that, or you can use a microwave timer or a timer on your stove. Those are the only things that you are allowed to use, okay? Next, I want you to change into comfortable clothing. I want you to eat before you start, and I want you to have some water to help you, because guess what, guys? This is the bonus that I wanted to whisper in your ear, is that when you declutter, you're going to be working out. So this is like 2-for-1 amazing thing that you can do, which is what I love, because first of all, you're moving, you're not sitting, you're going to be pulling things down, you're going to be pulling things out, you're going to be moving things around, and that moving is going to help you burn calories, and then you're going to get thirsty, so make sure you have some water. Make sure you're wearing like yoga pants or some shorts or something that you're comfortable in, because I don't want you to have an excuse to stop in the middle of your hour appointment, say, well, now I'm hot or I'm not comfortable, I need to change, because that could be a distraction, and we don't want that. And the last two things is make sure you have your notebook to write notes down. What are you doing? What are you working on? What are some of the things, the questions? Maybe you need to reach out to family members to have them come grab some of the things. So you're going to make a list. That's what the notebook is for. And then the other item is, how do we get ourselves pumped up and excited about this? It could be opening the window, opening up lights to let the light in, music, candle, whatever appeals to you is what you're going to do. Typically music, if you get some upbeat music going, it really is going to help you get into the mood and get excited. So you don't really need to have stuff to help you do this. You really need to have a trash and recycle, which most of us have, and then maybe storage bins. If you don't have storage bins, that's okay. You can use trash bags, or you can use 4 corners of the room. So there, I took all of the Olga but out of your vocabulary for your decluttering. Use 4 corners in the room. We all have them, so there's no excuse. If you have storage bins, awesome. Or you can grab some boxes from recycling, things like that. And helpful things, yeah, you can have some Post-it notes, because that way you can separate things. If not, you can just figure out which corner is going to be what. The goal is we're going to have at least 4 different categories. Let's make it simple, guys. Don't overthink it. Things we're going to keep, things we're going to donate, undecided pile, because it's okay not to have a black and white answer for something. Things that are throwaway are going to go into the trash or recycle, and then items that you may want to sell. These are the things maybe you can put aside to say, you know what, if I have enough of these things, maybe I'll do a garage sale. Maybe I'll post them on Facebook Marketplace and just get rid of them. Or maybe if I don't feel like it's not enough, these things are going to go in the donation pile. Okay. So when you get started in your appointment and you're going to stay focused because your timer is going and your appointment is in place, when you are looking at things and you're going through things, I want you to trust your gut, to trust your heart. That instinct is not going to let you down. So when you're picking up stuff and you look at it, if the first reaction is it's going to get you excited, you're like, oh yeah, this is great, you're going to keep it. But if it's something that is going to make you sad and you're like, oh my God, I don't even remember, I didn't even know I own it, I haven't seen it in a couple of years, get rid of it, because there's very likely that you're not going to need it. Now here, I don't want you to go down the rabbit hole of your brain kicking in and saying, well, wait a minute, what if this or that or this or that? Don't allow that to happen. Because what's this or that? And that's why you have 80% of the stuff in your house waiting for that what if to happen, okay? So we're going to stay focused for our time block. And then when we're done and that timer chimes, you're going to pat yourself on the back and you're going to then review in your notebook where you ended up after your 60 minutes. If you have time and you're on the ball, hey, by all means, keep going. Let's say that you are working on your junk drawer and you're almost there. Go ahead and finish. This way you have a complete satisfaction that you have accomplished and finished what you planned, your goal for that time frame. And if not, that's okay too. Don't beat yourself up, because you're going to then decide on when you're going to get to it next. And then you're going to put it in your Google Calendar or on your refrigerator calendar to get to and then have another appointment. Remember, it's not just one appointment and you're done. It's going to be one appointment at a time consistently, and then setting it up and then tackling a little bit at a time is how you're going to get through your decluttering project. And when you're writing things down, make a list of action items. If you need to call a family member because you found something that you think they're going to need, you need to write down, call Mary and ask her if she wants this. And if she does, she needs to pick it up by the end of June. You actually need to make it a smart goal where it actually has like a time frame. It's actually very purposeful and it has an actual like item and action attached to it. So now let's run through different rooms in your home if you're going to be actually tackling your projects at home, and talk about some useful things. Now, here is where I invite you to think about this as not something that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. Who wants to declutter all the time, nonstop, right? I don't think we need any more challenges or any more complications or difficult things in our lives, because we have enough of it on our shoulders as it is. I think you'll agree with me. Which means that I invite you to decide that once you're starting to do this, and every space is different, is what kind of systems can you set up to help you moving forward, not to ever have to go through this big project ever again. That's what we're talking about. So in the kitchen, as example, I want you to truly analyze your space and see if you're using all of your space as efficiently as possible. So open up your cabinet drawers, open up your cabinet under your sink, and ask yourself, am I using this space efficiently? Or if not, should I invest in some kind of system that I can purchase that is going to make my life easier and have that space work for me? I have tons of pictures here for you on the things that you can purchase easily at different local stores as well as Amazon to help you get your space organized. And using your space is even more important if you are in a small home. Maybe you have very little storage space, or if it's an older home, or if you're renting. You need to use everything that you have, okay? So do it one drawer at a time, one cabinet at a time. Don't forget to also declutter your refrigerator. It's also going to help you save on money, because then you're going to have designated places for your condiments, for your fruits, veggies, and other things in the refrigerator. If you want to label it for other family members, go ahead. This way, it'll just make things simpler when you know that ketchup goes here on this shelf and you're starting to run low on ketchup. You put it on your shopping list and you know what you need to buy, because then you're not going to find another full or half empty ketchup bottle a month later somewhere in the back of your refrigerator. Invest or use clear glass and plastic storage containers. Think the glass storage containers that I love are the ones from pasta sauce or pickles, right? You can get them in a pretty decent size. Guys, you already paid for it. It's glass, which is one of the best storage because you can close it nice and tight. You can use glass containers around your house for a million different things. So I encourage you, instead of recycling them, save a few, right? A few, not all of them. And then ask yourself, how can I use it more efficiently and where in my house I can do that, okay? Next, when you're going through your kitchen, I also want you to go through your stuff that you have and ask yourself, how many of these things do I really need? You'll need to look at your cups and plates and see if things are chipped. You want to get rid of them. I also invite you to look at your spatulas and your forks and other things, because plastic and wood does deteriorate over time. So if it's chipped or cracked, it's time to throw it away and get new ones. So this is where we are always reviewing. And you know what, in the kitchen, where we're in the kitchen 300 times a day, it's even more important for you to make sure that you're not eating plasticky or wood things because you're constantly cooking with those. And finally, how many items do you use that you have only once a year? I constantly see parade of appliances and impulse purchases that we have, or things that we get as gifts, that just sits there and collects dust. So I invite you to look at those more pragmatically and say to yourself, okay, do I really need this? When was the last time I used it? And is it occupying that very, very precious space that I may need for some of the things that I use more often or on a regular basis? So think about your ice cream makers or popcorn makers or cotton candy makers, things like that. And if you really do like some of these appliances, like some of my favorite ones are multi-use. So I'm a big fan of Instapot. I use it all the time because you can do different things with it. So if you like those appliances, maybe you should invest in one of them that does 4 or 5 different things. All right, let's head into the bathroom. Same thing, we're going to approach this as, okay, how am I going to maximize the space to work for me? Because this is what that space exists for. I want you to think of it this way. So to start out, I encourage you to grab and take out everything that you use, lotions, potions, makeup, sprays, all of those things out. And I want you to look at it and say, what have I not used in a year or longer? And this is where, guys, I want you to be very, very strict with yourself, because this is the stuff that we put on our bodies that gets absorbed in our skin, which means that it is now about our health. And another way to look at it is this. As a real estate agent, I am more than happy to help you to downsize from your home or buy something else. Or if you don't like where you live, you can swap it out and go somewhere else. And I'm happy to help you to create that plan. However, the body that we have inherited, that we were born into, is the only home that we will ever have in our lifetime. So I really want you to be mindful and think about what you put on it, which is the products. And of course, we also talk about what you put in it in terms of the things that you eat. So this is where the bathroom stuff with the lotions, potions, and makeup is, I am very mindful about it, because things are not refrigerated, which means that they have to put chemicals in these products to make sure that they last a long time. And these are the chemicals that we put in our skin, and this is the things that we absorb. So throw them away and tell yourself that you're going to buy smaller products. They may cost you more money. However, you are buying fresh things for yourself every 6 months. So December, January for lotions, potions, and makeup. And then come July, you're going to get all fresh new things for yourself. Don't skimp. Don't worry that you only use that eyeshadow one time. Throw it away and buy yourself a fresh one, and tell yourself that you are respecting the home that you live in. And this is why you're doing that. Next up is setting up a plan for your morning and evening routine. This is where you can use those plastic containers to set up and group things that you use on a regular basis for easy access. And again, just like in the kitchen, I want you to look at your space overall and say, okay, what can I do? What kind of systems can I invest in to set up that space to work for me, most efficient way to make my life easier? So shelves and organizers and hanging things on doors. This is where I want you to really look at your space and say, okay, what do I need to do? How do I make it work? And you know what? Command hooks and command shelves are really great, because then if you're not handy or you don't have someone who can actually install things for you, those are the things that can just be installed with the product itself, right? It's like a little sticky pad. So look into those things. And also, it's not permanent. So if you don't want them to be hanging on there for a long period of time, you don't have to put a hole in the wall. Those are great items to consider. All right, now we're heading into the bedrooms. Remember, your bedroom is your peaceful place where you put your head down to relax and to get re-energized from the world. So if your bedroom is full of crap and stuff, you're going to feel guilty. Your brain is going to work overtime. Remember that background noise that I was telling you about? And it's going to take that mental energy and effort for the brain to ignore that clutter. Or maybe that's why you're not sleeping well. Okay. And of course, papers and stuff also collects dust. So that could be another culprit. So that's how I want you to approach the bedroom, kind of like looking at everything, is that, you know what, your health is number one. It's more important than stuff. So think about what you can do in your bedroom to make it that peaceful place that you need. You need your sleep. No matter how you look at it, you have to have it. So as we're heading into the bedroom, if you guys thought I was going to kind of like skimp away the closet and the clothes, nope, that's not going to happen. We're going to go right into it, because that's a big culprit. We have a lot of it. I want you to look at your clothes and ask yourself, what do I really use? And this is where you're probably going to see that 80% of the clothes you don't. And you can kind of look at things with more mindful way, and you can realize that. So I invite you to take the time when you're doing some of your decluttering appointments to go through your closet and be very practical about it. Here are some questions that you can ask yourself. Does it fit? Have I worn it in the last 12 to 15 months? Am I going to wear it again? how do I feel about it? Because you should enjoy what you wear. If is it in style or is it my style, which is more important in my opinion? Do you enjoy wearing it? Does that make you happy and feel good about yourself? If it's damaged, do I have time to fix it? I agree that you should keep a couple of those pieces. Let's say if you're doing some work outside in the gardening and things like that, you don't want to put on good clothes. So keep a couple of things, okay? And the idea is for you to go through and say, you know what? I'm going to put a box in my closet and I'm just going to put stuff in there. If it's really hard for you to part with clothes, then give yourself grace and put a box in there and collect things over the month and just let them sit there. If you still feel great with them being in the box and not hanging and you're not wearing it, then you know what? You did great. After 30 days, it's time to take them to donation pile. I have some other ideas here for you. And also tell yourself the rule. This is what my rule is if I bring something in, I have to take something out of my closet, because when you really think about it, is we have a finite space. We only have so many square feet. And it doesn't mean that we have to fit and put stuff in every square inch of our house. So that's one of the things that I want you to remember. With bedrooms and other spaces, the same thing. How are we going to use all of our spaces more efficiently? It doesn't have to be expensive. There are some really great ways that you can do this on the budget and for free. So take a look at some of these suggestions when you have time to review the recording and look at this workbook as well. All right, so now we're going to head into garages and basements if you have them. And here I invite you to think about a couple of things and say, okay, I have a floor, 2 walls, and a ceiling. How can I get as much things possible off the floor, especially if you're in the basement? And I'm going to put it on the walls, and what kind of systems can I invest in to put as much stuff up on the ceiling? You can do these shelves that I have pictured here in the garage. I've seen people do them in the basements as well. So just make sure that you're attaching them to studs, to the actual like really secure walls to make sure that they're secure. But the goal is to get stuff off the floor so that way you can actually park your car in the garage. And in the basement, the less stuff you have on your floor, the less reason it may, if you had a damage, or let's say that your sump pump failed, or you got water in your basement, God forbid, which may happen, you are not have to worry about it. I'm a big fan of using simple totes that are clear. If you don't have those, use whatever totes you have, just mark them. Group them together depending on what they are, whether it's a holiday decorations, whether it's sports equipment, gardening, or some other things. Just keep them all together grouped. And again, invest in some systems and simple things that you can use to help you organize your things. There are the plastic shelving that you can find, like even an example, you can really see some people getting creative with pallets and some of these shelves that you can just use and organizers that you can use on the walls to have things be there for you and ready to be used, and just make it very, very simple. Same thing with living in family rooms. This is where you are relaxing by yourself and your loved ones. How can you keep things simple so that way they're not distracting you visually, seeing kind of that chaos around you? So go through your books, go through your electronics and cords, go through your pillows and blankets. Maybe it's time to get those renewed, especially if you have your cats and dogs, because they're like humans. I swear they love to lay on pillows, right? That's how mine are. And also go through paper, magazines, books. If you are not going to read the whole thing, then tear out the articles, which is what I do, and then you just donate and you recycle the rest. Okay, let's talk about papers. This is one of the questions that I get quite often. So I encourage you to take this slide, maybe print it out. And if you don't have a printer and you need my help, let me know and I can mail it to you. But one of the questions that I think a lot of us struggle with is when we get bills or we get statements in the mail, we don't know if we're going to ever need it. And then we end up keeping it. And then, that pile of paper just keeps on growing and never gets smaller. So this is a great one-page guide for you to help you control the paper chaos. And the ones that are most important on the last two bullet points are called Keep Forever and Always Shred. So Keep Forever, I want you to think about the most important documents that you will have, and from beginning of your time until for the rest of your life. Most important legal documents, anything that is hard to replace or irreplaceable. Those are the things that you want to keep forever. And you don't want to keep them in just a box or filing cabinet. You want to have a secure place. So my recommendation to you is invest in a safe. You can buy it very inexpensively online, or if you want to keep it out of your house in a safety deposit box, you can rent one at the bank. These are the most important things that you will ever need, and I can tell you that the need for them will come at the most inconvenient times for you. However, having the peace of mind knowing that those documents are secure is really going to help you just make things easier and not complicate your life. And the last category is about shredding. So when the mail comes in, if it has any kind of personal information, if you're asking yourself it should be shredded, then yes, it should be. And here's my system for staying on top of chaos. I actually enjoy getting mail, even though sometimes it's just bills, and that's okay. I just love the feel of physical paper. But I also know that that means I have to keep control on everything that comes into my house 6 days a week. So I have a very simple system. I gave myself this rule and I said, that's all you got, Olga. There's nothing else. There's no other option and there's no deviation. First pile, when I look at things, is going to be, okay, I need to review it. That goes into my one pile, one drawer in my little dresser that I have to the right of me. And my family knows too, there's anything that they need me to look at, they need me to review or pay attention to, it goes in that pile. And then once or twice a week, depending on my schedule, I go through it and I decide what to do with it. The second one is going to be recycle. It goes right into my recycle bin that gets emptied once a week, and it goes out with my recycle on Thursday. And then the last pile, it goes right on top of my shredding machine, which is to the left of my desk. And that's it. It gets shredded and it's out. That's it. There's no other option. It doesn't stay anywhere. It doesn't get put anywhere. It comes into the office right away. It gets sorted and put away. And I think that sometimes is the easiest because you only have 2 or 3 pieces to deal with every day. So don't wait. Don't just throw it somewhere. Deal with it right away. So that's my system that I wanted to share with you. Everybody is different. Your filing system, the amount of mail that you get is going to be different. So I think one of the things that you need to decide for yourself is what's going to work best for you. But I assure you that every one of you needs to have something in place on how you are handling your finances, your affairs, and the paper that comes into your house. So some suggestions that are here I have for you. Kind of make a decision, but please be assured you need something. So one of your homeworks is going to be creating a system. So Staples has a great recycling program that we found recently that I wanted you to see. You can actually recycle a lot of the tech that you cannot put in the trash anymore. Batteries, phones, other things, printer cartridges. It's very, very helpful. So if you have Staples around you, definitely check this out because, you know, sometimes I don't want to keep that stuff. And a lot of times I do. I have a box and then I wait for that day to come. And sometimes I just want to get rid of it. And that's where Staples does come to the rescue. Okay, now let's talk about all the stuff that we kind of, you know, in the beginning of our process, we finally figure out what are we throwing, recycling, selling, donating, what are we doing with the stuff? So my first suggestion to you is that, well, first of all, there's no better time to start decluttering than today. If you are at some point thinking about moving, which all of us will at some point, or you tell me, well, Olga, I'm not selling, I'm not doing anything, but I have stuff. You know what? If you do a little bit every day, or at least twice a week before your trash and recycle day, you're going to be ahead of the game 100%. So take advantage of your regular trash and recycle days and throw something away and recycle something. There are services like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They're not cheap, but if this is something that you want to do, they're definitely there for you. Hazard trash days are available in certain counties a few times a year. So take a look and see if it's available in your area, put it on your calendar and start collecting things. Like I right now have some fertilizer, like old stuff, some old oil, and some, aerosol sprays. All of those are hazardous and they cannot just be thrown in the trash. They have to be disposed properly. So take advantage of those opportunities where you can do it for free through your local government. Dealing with keepsakes and special things, I think, is one of the hardest things that we have to deal with. It's something that I come across and my clients come across all the time, and I get it. And I have some suggestions here for you on how and what you can do with them. You can only keep so much. This is what I want you to realize, is that you can only keep in store so many things. And I understand that you may feel like you are letting your family down, or you're going to start to feel guilty because there's some things that were passed down to you, from one generation to another. I totally understand. But what I want you to also remind yourself is that you're not just casting those memories aside and you're not throwing them away. What you're doing is, because you are the living human being right now, you have the right and to have the opportunity to create your own memories to pass down to others, to create your own legacy. So keeping other stuff, you can only do so much. So keep only some of it and then donate the rest. Take pictures of those things or have your family take it. But you need the space and the breathing room to create your own memories, to have your own experiences. I have some ideas here for you on maybe some of the ways that you could display kids and grandkids art. Really great ways. And remember, you can't also keep it all. So decide which pieces are the most important to you and how you may want to have a gallery. How much space you have, it also makes a difference. So I have some ideas here for you as well. All right, selling things and get rid of things. Facebook Marketplace is great. Different apps are great. And of course, you can go a traditional way of having a garage and yard sale. You just put stuff out. And the rule of thumb I give myself is whatever doesn't get sold gets donated. It's not coming back to the house. I think that's one of the worst things that you can do to yourself. And donations, we have lots of different options. Lots of thrift stores will take stuff. If you need to have someone come in, Purple Heart is great. Goodwill will come pick up things. You just need to schedule them. And a lot of the times they're busy. So you need to kind of get an idea on what their schedule is like. And they will come and pick up pieces of furniture and other things as well. So we talk about all of these things that you can do. And what I want you to also realize is that you're doing this not so that way you can do it again a year from now. But again, what we're trying to talk about is setting up the systems to help you tackle this big project one time. And then after that, all you have to do is like a reset. I was watching a TikTok. My kids got me into it, and I like how short the videos are. But one of the things somebody said to me that I really like, that I now use as a word myself, is like, okay, they're like, watch me do a Sunday reset. And that's exactly what he was doing. On a Sunday, he was cleaning and tidying and this and that. And I'm like, I love that. I love that phrase, a whatever day reset, because that's what you're doing. And this is the way we need to approach this. It's not you declutter big project once a year, but you're going to be then resetting on a regular basis, because we all have a life and we bring stuff, and we all live, right? We have a life. So mail comes in, designate a spot for it, and that's where it goes. That's it. If you need a box, like I have a basket where all the keys are kept in my dresser in my dining room, because that's the first thing that people, when they come into my house, have. So that's where all the keys are. This is where I have like a special place for lip balms and some of the other stuff, and pens and pencils. So designate that spot and tell everybody, this is it. This is the spot and nothing else. Schedule a few times a year to donate those household items that you may no longer want or need. So keep donation boxes in your closet, in your laundry room. And when you see stuff that you're like, I don't need it, but I'm not sure if I still want to get rid of it, put in that box. If after a month you still feel the same, there you go. Put it in your car and take it to a thrift store. One in, one out rule. We talked about that. If you're gonna buy something for the home, you need to donate something. If you buy a piece of clothing for yourself, you need to get rid of one. Okay. Have that paperwork filing system that I already mentioned to you. Figure out what's gonna work best for you. And then set these tidying appointments with yourself. Remember, it's not going to get done in 1 hour. However, if you have 30 minutes here and there, then do it and use it, and do a little bit at a time as well. When your organizers or your baskets are overflowing, it's time for an edit. It's time for them to get rid of them or take them to the thrift store. All right, so here is your action plan. We talked about a lot of different things, yet I want you to really zero in and start with this. Grab your notebook and I want you to jot down your thoughts. What are your concerns? What's bothering you? Like, why is it bothering you? Maybe you are on a mission because you need to downsize and you have to start with stuff. This is where everybody needs to start, is with the stuff that you have. Who can you ask for help if you need it? Sometimes you need some muscle to get stuff from the basement or things that are up in the attic. So if you do need that, and maybe you need, to hire someone for just for a bit, let me know. Then we can also make some recommendations for you. If you have a time frame that you need to be done by, why is that important to you? And then if you have a deadline, let's say by the end of summer, whatever that reason is, you need to backtrack and work on your schedule so that we don't procrastinate and leave everything until the 2 weeks before the summer is over. Okay. Invest in a painter's tape. I love this tape. You can find it on Amazon, and I love it because it's a visual way for you to sort things. So what I typically recommend is the green tape is going to be stuff you're keeping. The red tape is going to be the stuff that you're definitely going to get rid of. And then you can use other colors in between for whatever reasons you are. Things to donate, things to give to family, things to sell. And when you start putting this on pieces of furniture and other stuff, it'll really give you a visual way of seeing that you're making progress. So this is why I love it. And your homework is to set that date and time for your first appointment. Until you start, nothing is going to happen. And then after that, it's going to be one appointment at a time, an hour at a time, 30 minutes at a time, and then little bits over during the week where you have 10 or 15 minutes because you're waiting for your pasta to cook or something else, where you can say, you know what, I have 10 minutes. Let me quickly see what I can accomplish in that time frame. That's kind of how my mind works and how it works for me in my own household. And I invite you and encourage you to use the workbook that I just went over to help you and guide you depending on where you are in your decluttering journey, what room you're working on, to help you with some of these ideas in your own project. So here's what's next. If you want to talk to me in private about what's bothering you, by all means, please call me. This is I'm providing you with my cell phone number, with my email. I answer my phone, or if I don't, I'm going to let you know when I'm going to call you back. If you need help with contractors or organizers or just muscle, let me know. That's where our concierge service comes in. And we are happy to help you with a home updating consultation or anything else that you can think of pertaining to your home. Please rely on us. We're here to help you in your living well journey. So our other workshops are on our Live with Olga page. Every month we're doing something fun, so please join us, and there's no charge to you. And we have 2 YouTube channels that you can check us out on. One is Olga St Pierre, and the second one is At Home with Olga, which is where all of the webinar recordings are. So if you ever want to pick me up and you know that the workshop, our Zoom call is not coming up for another week or 2, you can always rewatch the video. And then guarantee you're going to pick up on some other things that maybe you did not hear the first time, okay? And if you want to join me on social media, most of the time I am hanging out on Facebook, and that's where I stay in touch with everybody. So this is what I have for you today. I hope that you found the information helpful. I know that it's a lot, but what I'm encouraging you to do is just take your time, write some notes down, and decide where you want to start, and just do it a little bit at a time, and setting up that first appointment is the most important thing. So now let's open up for questions, comments. How is everybody else doing in their decluttering journey? If you already started, you're welcome to chime in, to unmute yourself. Or if you want, you're welcome to also put the comments in the chat box as well.